special show today, and I'm so glad you guys are joining. I am Jerry Wald, your host, and you know that I'm a stroke survivor. Or for those of you that don't know, I am. And started doing this to bring awareness to stroke, TBI, aphasia, brain injury, and I also provide a platform for all survivors and guests to share their journeys from all across the world. And also bringing on experts in brain health, experts so they can share their knowledge with us. And as you know, I don't know if you've seen the promo that we did, another special guest, Melissa Truo, and she was on last week, and but it's a little different now. She's going to host, and we're going to call it Pick Mel's Brain. So please don't be shy. Ask her a question. She's here. We've got to learn more about stroke, and she obviously, not obviously, but she had a stroke as well. So ask her anything you want. And also, if you have not subscribed, go to YouTube. Let's Talk Stroke. So let's go ahead and bring on Mel, and then we'll start getting the questions. And nice to see you guys here. I really appreciate it. Here we go. There's Mel.
Good morning, everyone. Like Jerry said, I was on his show last week,
Yeah.
and we got such amazing responses and lots of questions that I felt like it was speaking to me to do a more weekly show or frequent show so that I can ask questions, address issues, and in the future, we'll be posting polls where I'll put up 5 things and you can vote on what you want to hear about. So it's not what I want to talk about, it's what you need to hear. And
Absolutely.
So if you are here right now, go ahead and give me a hashtag mindset in the comments and tell me where you're from. And if you're watching the replay, just do hashtag mindset replay.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That's
So a little bit about what I do, just to kind of cover last week. I'm highly trained in NLP, and I used it to rewire my brain. I have roughly 48 coaching certificates that kind of cover the board of neurology and how we rebuild our brains, because there's no going back to who we were. I don't want to anyway, but there's always a chance to rebuild and reinvent and invest and spend your time. And so that's basically all I came on, was to announce this, that we're going to be doing a regular show where we can, and I'll have a live Facebook group. I have a whole program. It's just all about mindset, and we'll talk about things like sleep and hydration, and because your brain's 80% water, so hydration is very important. I don't love water, but I drink it. Then we'll talk about things like affirmations and mantras and meditation and kind of all the things I do as a stroke survivor to be a thriver, because it's a full-time job, really. Even from the time you get up in the morning, your thoughts dictate that entire day. And if you wake up late, what happens? You lose your keys, you lose your phone. And when you're not preparing for the day in advance, then it's like, and if something does throw you off, then the whole day gets thrown off.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you guys for putting all your where you're from, and I appreciate it, and I know Mel totally appreciates that too. So if she can get back to you if she misses a comment, but thank you for doing this, and I appreciate it. And I see I butchered the name, so I apologize in advance here. Faisal, I watch you making comments on a lot of my shows, and I appreciate that. And we'll have to chat sometime. And tell us where you're from, again. And nice to see you all here. But I'm guilty. I don't drink enough water. I mean, I have a thing here. Can you hear the water? But I don't drink enough. And I know when you mentioned 80% of your brain, or is it your body, is water, and I'm so guilty. I woke up late this morning. I mean, you touched all this stuff, and I'm guilty. So I started off bad this morning, but I still am in a good mood.
And when I do wake up and everything's a little bit behind, I then ask, what is God protecting me from? Instead of, this is making me so angry and I can't find anything, and Okay, take a deep breath, center yourself, and say, what am I being protected from right now?
Absolutely.
And there's always a lesson. And there's always, I mean, and if you have a question that you're not comfortable like putting on the live comments, you can feel free to message me on Facebook, set up a discovery call on my website. You can message me pretty much anywhere. I'm on all the socials, so I'm easy to
Absolutely.
track down, and I answer just a lot of questions that are random. I mean, I have people create Facebook accounts because they don't necessarily want anyone to know what they're going through, and they'll message me. I will answer those. If I get a serious question from a fake Facebook account that's like, I'm having trouble, blah, 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 I will answer that to my best of my abilities because I figure they were brought to me for a reason.
Right.
And my
Absolutely.
lesson is don't turn them away just because they don't want me to know who they are. And so then I also have the mail in that I was telling you, Jerry, that
Yeah.
I'm starting. I have a P.O. box and I'm going to do an Ask Mel there, like kind of like a Dear Abby, but the pick in my brain. And
Right.
because I have learned along the way a lot of ways through trial and error. And, this didn't work for me, but I still learned how to do it correctly because it might work for someone else. But there's something in it for everyone.
Right.
Stroke, no stroke, that really doesn't. I'm in the stroke community because I'm passionate about it and because I am a stroke survivor.
Yes.
But my techniques really are good for everyone. I have equal stroke clients and what they call neurotypical clients. So
Right.
it's important to get this stuff out there because it's scary.
Yeah, it is.
The
And
world we live in right now is scary. I wouldn't want to be having a stroke during COVID. Can you imagine
no.
being alone in the hospital for 3 weeks?
Yeah. And then I've interviewed so many stroke survivors that they had their stroke during COVID. No one can see them at that time when it first started. And I do want to say one thing. If you're seeing me grin, uh, Brooke Allen. Oh, I feel so bad. When we started out, I had Brady's name on here, and I just looked back when Brooke Allen said, "Good morning, Jerry and Brandy." I had somebody else on there, so I put it back to Melissa. But oops. So is this part of my day? Gosh,
And Sydney, were you asking what my stroke story is?
yes, Sid.
Yes. So July 5th, 2015, I woke up feeling cruddy like I always do. I tried to do things to meditate, relax, all the things. And I got in the shower and I got in the hottest shower as I could stand. And imagine it's July in Oklahoma, so it's 100 degrees outside. And I stood in that shower and then all of a sudden it was like an explosion inside my brain. To be honest, I didn't hear anything, but I felt what I can say is a pop. And then it felt like hot wax was running. And so that was the start of it. I went to the doctor 3 days later, so on a Wednesday, and they took me in Thursday morning for a double craniotomy, which ruptured in the OR once again. And then I spent pretty much the next 4 years in bed, feeling sorry for myself, miserable. The pain that comes, they say the brain doesn't have pain receptors, but the pain that comes after a stroke and a surgery to fix a stroke it's astronomical.
Right.
Their little smiley faces and sad faces just don't go far enough for us. Yeah. And so they throw pills at us. They throw us things that slow down our neurology intentionally. I mean, they don't, like gabapentin, for example, it doesn't actually work to control pain. What it does is slow down your neuroprocessing system. So then it doesn't process the pain the same. And there are many, many of them like that out there. And I've been on a dozen of them and narcotics. And I was just like, you know what? This can't be all. And they told me all my healing would happen within the first 5 years, that I would not heal after the 5-year mark. And I believed them. So at 4 years, I have 1 year to figure this out. And it's taken me 4. And I'm still healing, still growing. New neural pathways are always building. And there is no limit. The only limit is the limit you believe.
Right.
The sky's the limit. I mean, healing is infinite. And my healing is different than someone else's healing. But at the end of the day, don't ever give up on healing, even if it seems like it's a slow, tedious process.
Yeah.
It takes change happens over time. It's not like you're going to get out of the hospital and you broke your arm. If you broke your arm, it would be in a cast for 8 weeks. But when the brain is broken, there's no, in 8 weeks it'll be fixed, in 8 weeks it will mend. It's an ongoing process. And neuroscientists and stuff, they really don't know the vastness of our brain,
Right.
because, well, they just can't figure it out.
Exactly. And I know I've talked to people, well, not so many, but they want to be, and I know maybe we all do, they want to heal. I can't take this, that I'm, I should be better in a week or two. Well, it really is not, it's a life, to adjust to that. I mean, I know you have all these certificates or these that think about it. After a stroke, you went on and but you did accomplish a lot of things that can help.
I rewired my brain. I had cognitive testing done in May of 2016, and I tested about a 7th grade level, so about 13 years old. So I ran around like that, and like a 13-year-old. Imagine a grown woman acting like a 13-year-old girl. Like, really? And then when I started all this in late 2020 or early 2020, and as I started and I went back, everything I did from August 2019 to May of 2020 changed everything, because I had cognitive testing done again, and I tested superior in most areas.
Right.
And so it works. It's real. I speak from experience and passion, because I want to help as many people as I can, make these kinds of changes, because we're not using this when we're, they don't use any of this kind of stuff in the hospital. They don't teach stroke survivors how to relive their life, all that stuff. And it's, if I could dispel that you have a year. It is the most harmful mindset, Christopher. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have so much to offer. So this could be any question. If it's outside of my wheelhouse, I will tell you that it's outside of my wheelhouse. Or if I don't know the answer, I will definitely put myself on a mission to figure it out, because that's how I got to where I'm at with my own brain. Everything, the certificates weren't just to get certified. I was learning how to heal my brain with each one of them, with cognitive behavioral coaching, with REBT coaching, with things like confidence coaching and mindset coaching and all of those things. And I applied them all.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah, that is the website. Oh, I'm pointing. But the QI, and what does that mean on some people that are showing up? That
QI stands for quintessential immersion. And quint means 5 specifically. So you're talking about what do you see, hear, feel, touch, taste, all those things. And essential, obviously, these are the essential things, the essences that I use to do this. And then immersion is bringing all of it together. And it's not just about me coaching you through anger. The immersion comes when we're coaching on all facets of everything that is important to the individual. And so it comes with sleep. Like, how do you sleep? What do you eat? What do you put into this vessel? What are you putting? Because you can't expect to get more out of your vessel than you put into it.
Right.
And so it's a whole mind, body, spirit thing that I do that just brings it all together. And to me, it makes a difference. And I've, so far in my coaching experience, I have 100% success rate with clients.
Wow,
so I haven't had a client yet say, this doesn't work for me. Okay. How much do I charge for my coaching? Well, Cindy, that's a complicated question. It depends on the kind of coaching and what we're doing, and if you want 30 minutes a week, or, and I have a 12-week program that's being put together right now that one could sign up for, which would make this transformation a 12-week process, starting with sleep. It all starts with sleep. Roughly, I charge for just one-on-one coaching $150 to $250 an hour, depending on where we fall in that. But I do often run specials. Like, I run a special for stroke survivors, and I'll run a special today. If you sign up today, I will give you three sessions for $99.
But also, on your website, you got to go to the website, and then there's like a 30-minute. Is that still?
There's a free discovery call. That's where you start, and then we see if it's a good fit. and you tell me I'm from Let's Talk Stroke, and I will say, okay, well, you want to do 3 for $9.99 or $99, and then you can split that. You can do it 3 weeks solid, or you can say I want to come once a month, and that's the only $33 a month. It's $1.10 a day or whatever, and so you can stretch them out as long as you want. So that is available to anyone who's on this live video.
Okay, there it is.
Post
But
in the comments. I will probably be reaching out to you to answer questions. Yes, I would, Catherine. My goal for coaching and for providing this for stroke survivors is to have a team of 5 stroke coaches in every major hospital with head trauma unit across the United States, because the way that they talk about our demise, all the things that they talk about in our rooms is planted in our unconscious. So for 4 years, I was hung up on a 4% chance of survival, that I could still not survive this because I only have 4%. But, you know, I'm a little ornery, and so I took that 4% and ran with it and said, I'm going to make this the best 4% I can make it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, what about, I mean, you really have weaned yourself off to the meds for the most part, I guess. You know, there's some meds I guess we need.
I take a thyroid med because I don't have a thyroid, and I take baby aspirin. And I was on 19 medications.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, and I was in bed because I was in bed because I was recovering, or was I in bed because I was toxic? I thought it was tomorrow, Stephen. Did I look at my calendar wrong?
I love this. I'm glad you guys are getting something out of this. I mean, when I talk to Melissa, I feel like I'm in my therapy part, you know, trying to learn as much as I can. And I tell you, I feel great. I mean, even though we really haven't dug into it, but of my issues, but
my nature is coaching. So if you're having a conversation with me, consider yourself coached, because if you say something that is derogatory towards yourself, I'm gonna remap that and create a new pattern, so that when you say it next time, and you catch yourself. I catch myself saying can't all the time, or have to, and those are just words I don't really use.
wow.
I don't use have to, change to get to.
Right.
Because it's a gratuity thing for me. I don't have to do the laundry. I get to do the laundry because I have a washer, I have a dryer, I have clothes, and a home to fold them in. It's all once you start catching that, and you can take your brain down that next track, it opens neural pathways to I get to. Are you telling our fortune? No.
It's funny.
That was to block the light. I'm going to be doing some new stuff with my lighting because my video is just way too dark right now. But no, I don't do fortune telling. I don't do psychic readings. I don't do tarot cards. You know, I do use essential oils, but I'm also certified in essential oils for healing. And I do use herbs. I am also certified in Ayurvedic medicine, which is herbs for life and all those things. But
okay, let's see here. And wow, and also, okay, I forgot. Can you help with my memory?
when you rebuild neuroplasticity, it does help the memory.
Yeah, and I now I remember. I forgot again. This is really crazy. You know, the great thing, should I say it like that? You had a stroke.
Yes.
I had a stroke. Most people coming on this show are stroke survivors. So you know what I've been through, you know, which is a great thing, that, you know, like the depression part, you know, who wants to admit that I have depression?
Here's what happens, I believe, with depression. When after a stroke, I really believe that we're kind of in a fight or flight mode as a protection, and anxiety gets high. What happens when that happens is your hippocampus actually shrinks. When that hippocampus shrinks, you start losing memory. You start losing things, and it is possible to heal that area, but it has to start with getting out of fight or flight mode. That's the hardest part, is getting out of fight or flight.
Right.
And so I think it's just the nature of the beast. It's a self-protection mechanism. And think about the trauma. I mean, the trauma is real. And
Yeah.
I would say, I don't know the percentage on it, but I would venture to say 100% of stroke survivors have some kind of PTSD.
Yeah.
Some
I
kind
believe
of, whether it's complex or whatever it is. I believe we do have some of that, and that can cause anxiety, memory loss. It's like finding the root cause. Like, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
Smoke or fire? I mean, it's really like that with us too, because especially if we're left alone for a period of time after the stroke without the proper psychological training and, you know, maybe physical therapy and those things. So I had to fight to get that. And if that started early, then we can avoid the fight or flight. And by teaching the brain positive things, we can save stroke survivors years of suffering.
And that's
I don't want people to suffer like I did.
I know. You know, when you said that yours, because mine was the same thing. I felt that pop, and it kind of like, I don't want to have that happen again. You know.
But when you're seeking that, the unconscious mind doesn't process the don't. So when you say, I don't want this to happen, the unconscious mind doesn't get the don't. For example, don't think of a purple elephant. Anybody think of a purple elephant? Raise your hand if you did. And I said, don't, right? So unconscious, really, that's why I changed have to get to and can'ts to
Absolutely.
Not yet, or, you know, not right now.
Right.
Because I'm perfectly capable of 100 other things. So I just kind of focus, and you refocus on things that you really want. So when it's, I don't want to have another stroke, it's more like, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm whole, and I'm doing everything I can to keep my brain healthy.
Right.
That's the comment. So when you say, when you're thinking, I don't want the pop, I don't want that to happen again, you're chasing that dream. So whatever you bring to your attention is where it flows. Energy flows where your attention goes.
So I have to talk slower, I think, so I can. I'm not going to talk. Maybe that'll help.
Sometimes I think there's a processing thing, because even me, I don't have aphasia, but sometimes I'll be talking and the wrong word will just put itself in there. And then I'll notice it a few minutes later and be like, I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say this.
Right.
But it's just like there's a little bit of a processing that goes on still. And I think, you know, I'm always going to have some of those nuances to play with.
Right.
Because I had a double craniotomy.
Yeah.
I have metal in my head.
Right. So, exactly. Ask questions, you guys. I mean, this is the time.
And even on the depression for your own, it's loss of self. And it's important to go through the grieving process with that loss, just like you've lost a loved one. You know, all of the anger, all the stuff that comes along in the grieving process. It's important to accept new self and grieve over the loss of self. It really is, because we're different. After a brain injury, you're different. We just aren't the same. And there's a sense of loss there.
Right.
But if you don't go through the grieving process, for me, for example, not going through the grieving process appropriately just made me angry. I was so mad. I was mad at myself. I was mad at God. I was mad at the world. I was mad at neurotypical people, just because I wasn't able to do what they were doing, or even able to do the things I did 2 weeks before.
Right.
So when I finally went through the grief process in therapy with loss of self, somebody else does Ayurveda, that's awesome. But you go through the grief of loss of self, it becomes acceptance. And also I treated that anger like it was alcohol. And I put myself through the 12 steps of AA the same way you would if you were an alcoholic.
Wow.
And down all the way to accepting that it's bigger than me, because my anger was way bigger than me.
Yeah.
And, you know, all the things coming down to making amends and not being angry anymore. So now when I get angry, I always take 20 minutes to sit down with myself and ask myself a series of questions. Is this anger because of a real problem, or is this just something you're blowing up because you're already having a bad day, or whatever the case may be? And so anger was the real one. How do you deal
with go ahead.
lack of ambition when you have things you want to do but just not end up doing them? Not that you are trying to be lazy, you just lack the drive. Um, as a stroke survivor, I always had all these brilliant things I was going to do. And, I go to bed at night thinking tomorrow I'm going to get up, I'm going to clean the whole house, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But when tomorrow came, it wasn't tomorrow. So you really have to listen to your body on that. But a lot of meditation, setting intentions is great. Like the night before, you write it down, you think about it before you do whatever it is that you do the last 30 minutes before you fall asleep. And then when you write it down, it's all about intention and then action. Intention leads to action. Action leads to practice. And in the end, it becomes who you are. And so sometimes you have to force that. Like when I first decided I was going to get out of that bed, I was dancing in bed, but this is what I was doing. Moving my legs and my arms as much as I possibly could. And I did that for probably 6 months as it graduated. And then before I knew it, I was out of bed and I was running around the house dancing. And so and music is so healing for the brain. And that's why dancing for me was a big thing, is I would put on positive music, put on, for example, my fight song and just like belt it out as loud as I could. And this is what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm going from here to there, but I'm going to figure it out. And I didn't give myself the opportunity to back down.
Right.
If I faced a challenge, I said, okay, this is going to take a little more attention, but it needs my attention. And so the more you do, the more you do. And so I started out with like 15 minutes a day. Before I knew it, I was passing through an hour because I would repeat my playlist. And I'm like, when the playlist started back up again, I was like, wow, I did all the songs today. I remember when I can only do half a song.
Right. Wow.
And so it's not the lack of ambition. It's more the lack of action. Because if you're thinking about it, that's your ambition.
Right.
Ambition is a thought.
I know there's question stuff. Can I just go back one thing? Sure. I don't want to go to the negative stuff, but how long, or was it years, did it take you to get over? Because you said you were mad at God, you were mad at yourself, and all that. Was it?
I lived like that for 4.5 years.
Okay, so it's okay.
It was around the time, about December 2019, between there and March, where I started to make this massive transition. And I was really throwing spaghetti at the walls. And it was not helpful. I hurt people with my words and actions just because I was so angry. I had started driving again. All the things, it all came to fruition all at once. And it was overwhelming for my system, minus the 19 medications that I stopped taking cold turkey. I did not wean myself off. And they say hurt people. And that's how I felt about my anger, was I didn't want to hurt anyone else, including myself.
Right.
And then it came to the other side of that token, is healed people heal people.
Right.
And I didn't want to be a hurtful person. I want to be a healing person.
Absolutely. And look what you're doing now. There are, Kumon, nice to see you. Okay. There's questions there. Is that from
Lynette? I also say that saying, because if I do misuse a word or something, I will automatically come back to that. It's like once your arrow hits the brain, it's never the same. And that's really true.
Yeah.
That is, and I had the double craniotomy, and then I have a coiling in this one. So I had 4 total aneurysms.
Yeah.
And
Sid there. Sid.
Sydney, I have very little, by the grace of God, physical deficits. I did have for 2 years. I remember going to the fair in September of 2017. And I remember that was my first big outing. I love the fair. It's like my favorite thing to do. In fact, we have press passes for the state fair this year. So we will be doing photography at this fair for the next 10 days or whatever. But that particular trip to the fair, all I remember is right foot up, right foot down, left foot up, left foot down. And I couldn't walk unless that was my thought.
Yeah.
And now I can easily run up and down the stairs and I don't have to think about it anymore, but that was part of retraining. I hope that answers the question. Very minimal. I do have some loss of sensation in my left hand because my surgery was on the right. My rupture was on the right. So it affected the left-hand side. And so like I could put it on a hot burner and not really get the hotness until I'm burned sometimes. So it's just kind of a loss of sensation. It's not numb. It functions very well.
Right.
But no, I don't really have many physical deficits. And that's what I'm hoping to learn from this community to take into my field is how do I navigate around the physical deficits?
Right.
I need to learn that. And that's why I'm saying I will 99 bucks you all week long till I figure out, because we're all different. All of our, you could have the exact same rupture in the exact same spot in the exact same artery and not turn out the way I did.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I believe that all of this, my healing, is to set an example.
Right.
To show you that anything is possible if you believed it, because I didn't believe it for 4.5 years. I was done.
Yeah.
I had a 4% chance that I was going to figure this out.
Right.
And you know, something inside me got a little angry.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to die standing up, not in this bed. I'm going to do it on my own 2 feet when it happens.
Right.
Not in this bed.
Just amazing how the 4 years. So, because I know I've talked to people before, and you know, I'm 13 years out here. But we're in October 19th. My anniversary is the 22nd of October. I totally missed that, but yeah, it's great to see what you've accomplished already after your years of, you know, going through the why me type situation, and now why not me? I don't know.
That's kind of why it was a why me for a long time, and it was a why me as the negative way, and then it turned to a why me, like, why did you save me? What is my purpose? Why?
Yeah.
And then now it's like, well, why not me?
Right.
Why not me rather than someone else? But it's gonna be dangerous. I still blame myself.
Yeah.
That I can understand that, Stephen. I was also a smoker at the time.
Yeah.
But really, they also told me that the brain aneurysms were genetic and therefore always there. They were always with me. It wouldn't have mattered if I drank, smoked. It wouldn't have mattered. Eventually, with untreated high blood pressure, it was going to blow.
Wow. Just a matter of time. Yeah. Sydney. Yeah. You
comments here.
Yeah. You go. You see the comments. Thank you guys for making these comments and asking here. Yeah. And Kelly, but that's Barbara. I had 0 risk factors in my stroke. Who do I blame? I mean, so that may be something that you need to talk to.
When I'm introducing myself to a group of people or speaking or somewhere, I always say I was blessed with a stroke. And people they can't wrap their hand. You were blessed?
Yeah. Why?
Well, yeah, because it changed my life.
Yeah.
That moment changed my life. And was it a blessing? Because I wasn't really a happy person before. I was a negative Nancy. I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to do all the things. And I did revert back to that once I started healing. But that's where I had to stop and change my patterns.
Wow. Interesting.
It's all about interrupting patterns and rebuilding new pathways. I do it with art therapy and scrapbooking and journaling and it's an all-inclusive kind of, you get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah, you need to. I mean, I 100% agree. I'm thinking of me, well, just because why not me to start this thing to,
That's right. I mean, I really feel like there's a purpose for all of us, and stroke or no stroke, I mean, we all find our paths at different points. Yeah. But if I hadn't had a stroke, I would not be here talking to you right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I keep looking back before me doing this, and I says, maybe you gotta get a hobby, because I was like, you know, why me? I mean, I go to the airport, since I flew planes, went there. I can't get on the ladder. I can't. You know, what can I do? One side is, you know, hemiplegic kind of thing, and my kids are the ones that really got me going to do this. My in the 20s-year-olds, and so now I'm doing this, and it's really cool. I mean, to meet everybody here. So this is my purpose. Like, you know, you have your purpose too. So I thought it was not. Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like there's a root cause underneath for everyone. So when I do set up, when I do the discovery call, one of the things I always say is, give me your list of issues. And then at the end of that list of issues, I will say, the problem is never the problem. What you view as a problem is a symptom of a problem. And if we don't go to the root cause of that problem, we're going to keep treating the symptoms.
Right.
I think there's no blame needed. It happened, accept it. And your only option is to accept it and move on, or admit defeat. And when you're when you're feeling defeated, then you want to blame everybody. And, and it's not my fault. What did I do? Or it is my fault. What do I do to prevent it in the future? I took care of myself. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. I didn't do that. It just happens. They don't know why. You break your arm, they know why. You fell off a tree. Okay. But when your brain erupts from the inside, there's really there's no math behind it. There's no science behind it. And they try to treat us all like we broke an arm. You do this, this, and this, and then you're done. And it's just not that simple.
Right. Well, yours is genetic. Yours was genetic. So was somebody in your...
My mother actually passed away from a ruptured aorta.
Wow.
So the suggestion is that there's a soft tissue disorder in my family that weakens the blood vessels. So I'm actually going through the specialists to test that right now because is it 2021, I think, when my son was 25 years old, he had a collapsed lung for no good reason. And that was at Thanksgiving. And then he was supposed to come over here he got out a few days before Christmas. And then he was supposed to come over here for Christmas, and he picked up his nephew at his other family, his in-laws at their gathering. He picked him up, and it recollapsed. Wow. And so then he was in the hospital from Christmas Day till after New Year's. Wow. And there's no real good explanation for it, but lungs are soft tissue. So I'm going through all the testing to figure out what I might have so that they don't have to narrow it down for my kiddos.
Right. Very interesting. But Jerry, nice to see you. And if you guys, please ask more questions because this is all about Mel. I mean, Mel, let's pick her brain. I completed the website from, way to go, Barbara.
It goes onto my calendar, and I will call you at that time, Kelly. Once you get on my calendar, it shows right up on my regular calendar. It's all linked because, my husband's kind of a mastermind with electronics, so he sets all that up for me. So
nice.
It's nice to have a web designer or photographer, all that, because I get the perfect headshots, all the great things.
Yeah, because he's a photographer. I mean,
he's a professional photographer
in real life.
He's Google certified. He builds websites. He does a little IT. Does flyers, that kind of stuff for companies. And
wow,
it just between the two of us, we got everything covered.
Wow. Now I wonder if he's looking at what I'm doing and saying, "Oh boy, he needs some help."
He'll tell me if he feels that way.
Yeah, he will. That's good.
Okay, Cindy, this is kind of a big question, but I'll answer it. How did you find your way to learn new things and retrain the info? So it started off after I started moving. I heard about this gentleman named Wim Hof, and he changed his body through the way that he breathes and all of that. But Wim Hof led me to this, that led me to that, and all of a sudden I stumbled across a 5D breakthrough, guaranteed to change your life. He likes your icon. That's Joe Hart right there.
Joe Hart, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That's the guru. And so, of course, I just forgot where I was going. It was okay. So, and then I stumbled across online one evening, take my 5D breakthrough. And so I was like, okay, I signed up for it. And she actually chose me out of the 50 people that were watching live to do a session, to do NLP with. And I had no idea what she was talking about. But at the end of that, I was like, this makes sense. It started clicking. And I started going through NLP. And I had realized at that point I was already doing it. I was anchoring things, anchoring intentions, laying out my gym clothes the night before. That is anchoring that intention. The first thing I do in the morning is get up and put on my gym clothes and go to the gym. And so I was using anchoring. I would anchor things to inanimate, like an ink pen. This ink pen means I'm happy. And when I pick this ink pen up and I color with it, it makes me happy because it's anchored. And you really can anchor this stuff on yourself so that you can change your state at any given time. That's more in depth. Speech difficulties after the stroke. Not necessarily real speech difficulties, but I would say weird things like I would put words together, and there was something really weird, and I can't remember what I would use to say. But if somebody asked me a question and I didn't hear it or whatever, I wouldn't say, huh? It was something, I can't remember what the word was, but it was really obnoxious. And it was something I really had to break. So my speech difficulties, I guess, more lie in using the wrong word to put in the wrong place, but not real deficits with speech that I recall.
Right, but that's in the beginning, that was aphasia.
Yes.
You know, so some sort of it, but you, I don't want to say overcame it, but you obviously worked on it.
I learned how to integrate it into everything. I learned how to immerse the stuff that I don't think I like with the stuff that I love, and they balance each other out.
Right.
Did you ever worry that the effects of your illness would outlast your stamina to fight through it? I struggled with that, and just, of course I did. I worried about everything, and the whole I'm not this and I'm not that list I had to get rid of. And replace it with, but I am this. So I definitely have stamina days. Some days it's just like I can put in 100% and I can rearrange the furniture and I can do all this. And then just, a day out of the blue, it'll be like, today is not my day. So I'm going to do some creative stuff to, open up my creative side of my mind, because my logical side is not necessarily on board right now. This is really listening and asking questions. So that day when you wake up, it's like my stamina is nil, but what did I put in my body yesterday? Did I drink lots of water? Because if I'm running around and with all that stamina, I'm not probably taking time to stop and eat because I don't want to lose the momentum.
Right. And it took you 4 years. 4 years to kind of get over things.
Let's see, I'm at the 8-year mark now, 4 years in bed, about 4 years to get to this point. I'm not done healing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it took me like about 4 years of intense self-reflection and therapy and thought process and changes. And
right.
I'm one to stick notebook, Post-it notes all over the house where I would have a negative thought and I replace it with a positive thought. I put that notebook, that Post-it right there.
Right.
And then and then it reminds me throughout the day that this set me off. It was a trigger.
Right.
It's honoring your triggers because they're trying to tell you something.
No, for me, it's a lot of thinking. You see the comment here that Lynn?
Yes. Lynn, I can do everything to key house.
I can do everything. Probably
to keep house.
To keep me. I see. Do you see the first comment from Lynn? I put it on the screen.
Yeah. Unfortunately for me, I don't really, my family's all in Washington. And so I didn't have a lot of that kind of support after my aneurysm. And I unfortunately have had people tell me, stop using your aneurysm as an excuse for my crankiness or my bad behavior. Don't use that as an excuse. Well, it's not really an excuse. It really happened.
Yeah, I know.
I had a double craniotomy that ruptured on the operating table. That happened, and it's going to change me. And if you don't like that change, the door's on the left.
Yeah, get over it.
Not to be negative, but yeah, you're going to have to overcome obstacles that are related to your mental health that are imposed by others.
Right.
Just don't believe them. They want to treat you like let them. You can't change their perspective, and it's not your responsibility to change how they see you. That's an inside job for them.
Right. Tammy, good to have you here. But I know if we miss these comments, wow.
You're right, Tammy. It's an explanation, not an excuse.
Yeah, I'm sure that Mel will go back and look at some of these, and if
I want to address this comment from Cindy real quick. She said, my
Absolutely.
therapist and primary doctor tell me that the first 5 years is the only healing that will happen.
Yes.
I was asked them for an update test to see the, I don't know what, SCATBI test. They do not want to give it to me because supposedly,
Wow.
according to them, I will not prove it all anyways.
God, don't you hate that?
Been
Oh,
there.
yeah.
My suggestion to you is if you have insurance, find a cognitive testing place of your own. Each state usually has one, but find somewhere to get the cognitive, and your insurance will pay for it.
Yeah.
So whether your primary care wants you to have it or not, that shouldn't influence whether you can get it. If your insurance pays for it, go out on your own. You don't need a referral for most insurance. I mean, just go out on your own and see what happens.
Yeah. That's so true. But I don't like those because I was 1 year out or 2 years out, and one of my therapists said just what you just said, Sydney. Same thing. I plateaued. There's no more healing. This is how you're going to be for really the rest of your life. I thought, crap, this is it. But then, I look back and, from videos that I made, my kids made, oh, I went back to talk to her. She retired. So I couldn't find her.
And that's why I think that what we're doing is so important, is because when a stroke warrior is depressed, it's a different kind of depression. It's not something you can treat with another medication.
Right.
It's a different, and it's a soul depression. And it's because it's the loss of self. It's the loss of the way everything was. Almost like when you lose a loved one. Everything's different from that day forward because you never talk to them again. You never get to see them again. You never get to hear their voice. All of that applies to us because
Right.
I'm way different now than I was before.
Right.
I'm a different person. And
speaking of meds, I just want to say this. When I broke my hip and then I broke my clavicle, they gave me tramadol to get for the pain. You know what it did? It depressed me. I was mean to Barbara. Not mean, but I was not doing good.
And it's because it slows down those receptors in the brain, and the brain gets angry.
Yeah,
it's not
I stopped taking them.
necessarily Jerry who's angry when he's on this stuff. It's the brain,
Yeah,
the unconscious part of that brain. I went through kidney stones from January until April this year. I had 4 surgeries. And by then I had been on pain medication for 4 months. And when I stopped taking it, because the pain was no longer there, I was a little fussy. I was a little cranky with everybody. And it was like, are you just a little short today? But it was like every day for a while. And I had to make the conscious decision to break that cycle.
Well, I didn't know. So Barbara, I stopped taking that because it wasn't really helping the pain. It was just making me irritated and pissy to everybody. So I don't know if I should have said that, but really, that's how it made me feel. And Michelle, good morning, kid. Good morning to everybody.
Yes, thank you all for all of your comments. If I missed any, I will try to answer them through the Facebook post. And also for the next week until next Tuesday, give me some suggestions of what you would like for me to specifically talk about.
Right.
That way, because I'm just kind of broad spectrum here. This is all the things that we could talk about, but what I want to do is address issues, once a week. Where we talk next week, we'll probably talk about sleep, just because that's where everything starts. And I'll talk about my sleep hygiene and my affirmations that I do and what I do before I go to bed. The whole process. It starts about an hour and a half before bedtime.
Yeah.
But it's a process, but it works for me.
Yeah.
It works really well, and I've just really gotten back into it. I was a little off with my sleep, but after the kidney stones and stuff, I was sleeping I got in the habit of sleeping 10 to 12 hours a night.
I can't believe that. Wow.
Is awesome, but I'm trying to back it up now because I feel better when I'm an 8 to 9er.
Yeah.
And I know that, so right now I'm trying to back that up and adjust and tweak where it needs to be tweaked. And that's the beautiful thing about all of my program is we can tweak and adjust it.
Yeah.
The survivor. Awesome. And like I said, I need habits. I need to be, working with deficits so I know how to navigate through them, or, learn my limits as to what works and what doesn't. And it's really trial and error. I don't want to put a Band-Aid on your symptom. I want to put help into your root cause.
Right.
I'm a grumpy I was a grumpy SOB too, only
Yeah,
I'm a DOB, I guess. I don't know, but it
yeah,
was tough.
yeah. I'm gonna really work on this. My
Look, your
water.
water. That's the
Yeah.
goal. Hydration, nutrition,
Like
sleep.
the only thing that gets me with that, and it's not okay. It's an excuse. I go to the bathroom. Then if I drink so much water, I got to get up in the middle of the night, and all this stuff.
I get up twice a night usually to go to the bathroom. And the one thing that I do first thing when I get up in the morning is bypass tea, bypass coffee, and I make hot lemon water with honey.
So my wife,
And
that's not funny.
it hydrates you pretty quickly because you can put stuff like cloves and other things in it. If you like, sometimes I put nutmeg or something in it, but it hydrates you fast because it's hot and the lemon helps it absorb into your brain and your body. So it's a way to hydrate real
Yeah.
quickly.
Do you ever have an occupational therapy for head injury survivors?
I had occupational therapy just for the pain. Like my lower back, I could not hardly get comfortable at all. I went through a series of ablations where they burned the nerves and all of this stuff. And then when I really started doing reprogramming of the pain, I still have pain, but not like I used to. My
Yeah,
back is sore today, but that's because I deep cleaned the bedroom on Saturday,
yeah.
Sunday.
And I've actually had therapy. Exactly, Serena. But I've had therapy for vertigo. Um, Occupational therapy, and that stuff works. Bo, nice to see you. He's from Norway.
Oh,
We're here, Bo. If you haven't, I'm not sure how long you've been watching, but Mel here is I don't know. She's got a truckload of certificates, and she had a stroke as well.
I'm kind of
People,
I call myself a neuro mental health coach.
there you go. And so if you haven't, if you can look at some of the questions, if you want to ask a question, now's the time. But we're doing other shows too, so we'll be doing.
We're about out of time. We've got 8 minutes left. If you got any questions?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hey, me.
Hi, Bo.
Yeah. Hey, Mel. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have my reading glasses here, but I like to put them on because I have to. Yeah, but it's all good. Carmen, good day to you.
It is a good day. It's a
Good
good day to have
therapy.
a good day.
Okay, it's good therapy going to the bathroom. Okay.
It is actually good. And it can help reset your rhythm so that you fall back to sleep faster. If you wake up in the middle of the night, and that's what woke you up. When you solve that problem, you're able to go right back to sleep.
Right.
And would you ever consider getting the brain implant that Elon? No. In not so many words. AG double stop hockey sticks. No, that's not happening.
Yeah.
I've worked way too hard to get where I am to lose any of it.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
if there's risk involved, forget it. I'm not taking risks with my brain. That is a hard boundary that I will not cross.
There you go.
I've had people, have you thought about getting a stimulator or this? Why would I do that? Like, I don't feel broken. If you feel like I need to be fixed, that's on you because I don't feel broken.
Okay. So,
Clinginess, wanting hugs, and touching normal. I've had my clingy. I wouldn't say clingy now, but I do like physical touch, like when I'm falling asleep. So I've usually got a dog right next to me. She sleeps, she's the little spoon. And so I always have that. Animals are great for serotonin. They're great for all the dopamine, all the receptors in your brain love animals. And
they don't judge.
I say drink a big thing of water first thing in the morning because your brain has been on a fast all night. Your brain works better when you feel. Yes.
I know.
I agree with that. And I do drink my water after I have my lemon water because the lemon water kind of just like resets everything from the night before and it gets into the cells so fast that especially if I'm feeling really tired in the morning,
right,
for no good reason, like I slept my hours and I can look at my sleep. I have a watch, but it tells me my sleep. So I can look and say, oh, but I only got this much restorative sleep. So how do I restore? And lemon water with honey always just like helps to reset the day.
Right,
and I really feel like it all comes down to if you believe in it, it works.
Yeah.
And so That's where I say meeting the client where they're at. So what do you believe in?
Yeah.
I don't ever tell anybody do this, this, or this. How I operate is to provide options.
Right.
Okay, so your problem is you're not sleeping. Well, here's what I do, and let's hear about your sleep hygiene. I do drink yerba mate tea. Right now I'm drinking a chai tea, but I drink ashwagandha tea. I drink dandelion tea. I drink all that stuff.
And it all, yeah.
I don't drink probably as much water as I should every day, but there's water in my tea, right? And this has herbs too. So if you count my tea, I drink more than enough.
That's not how.
Yes, I love it as well. Agree. It's one of my favorites.
Does it? Because of the tea. I'm just thinking what I go through. I'm okay. I don't know if, okay, I'm having coffee, but when I want to drink tea, I had a seizure. It's green tea. I'm not sure what it was, but I had a small seizure, and I thought, okay, I'll stick to coffee because that doesn't, and I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe it was just it was a breakthrough thing, and just happened to a coincidence. I don't know, but I don't do it.
But that would make me not desire to drink green tea for sure. Yeah. I mean, you're associating the green tea with that seizure, and so but tea is so vast and has so many different healing. I make my own banana peel tea. So I'm kind of I don't like waste. If it's food and I don't have to waste it. So what I do is we eat our bananas during the week. I have a Ziploc bag we throw our peels in. And then I put them on the stove and I boil them. Yeah. And all of the because there's nutrients in those peels. And then I make my cup of tea with the banana peel tea. So it's nice and sweet with no added sugar. It's just a banana peel.
Yeah, good to hear that. Because if I eat an orange, I eat the whole thing, the peel and all.
Oh, do you? I can't do the peel, but it's too bitter for me. But it's really good for you. The skin of all of the vegetables and fruits that we have, they all have qualities that are very good for us. And all different minerals and all different things. I mean, when you eat the orange peel, you don't get the same vitamin C that you eat because the vitamin C is in the flesh. I'm not sure what's in the peel, but I know it's good for you. I mean, grate it up and put it in salads and but even with lemon, you do lemon grating a lot. The zest of the lemon is in a lot of things, and it's just because of the quality. Right.
Yes. I
am creating a recipe book.
Oh, are you?
Yes. Because I cook from scratch. Like when I start dinner, last night we had pork loin and cabbage, but I start with fresh herbs, fresh oregano, thyme, basil, sage, and I painstakingly chop it all up, and then I infuse some water with it. So I let it simmer on the stove with some water and bone broth, and let it sit there, and then I cook the food in.
Okay.
And so it's not easy. I love the way it tastes, and I know when I'm cooking it, I'm setting the intention that this is going to nourish my body in the areas I need it to be. When I'm eating, it's the same thing. Every bite, I'm grateful for this. Please allow the nourishment for this to go to wherever it needs to in my cells to help repair.
Wow. Yeah.
Peels to make teas for our plants. That's awesome. That's a great idea. I don't do that yet, but it's another avenue.
It works. So that's good, Serena. Wow. This is it. And Bo, if you haven't done it yet, I'm pointing it. That's where you go to QIcoach.com, her website. Pretty darn great website. And that's the phone number. That's your business phone number.
And you can also look up the QI Coach on Facebook and find me there. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, I think. And I'm trying to get on all of the things. Yeah. So that it's going to more. I want to make a bigger impact. Yeah. And I feel like it starts here. And, yeah. I would rather start with this community because I'm part of this community.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really feel like in this family, we shouldn't have to fight alone.
I know.
And most of us do. Until now, we have fought alone. But let's not fight alone anymore. Let's create resources and,
and we
I'm
need
going to
that.
need a group of, even when I start here with a stroke surviving group, I'm going to need folks that are part of the community to become people that just these people can talk to, not for therapy necessarily, just this person's really sad, they're feeling depressed and all sorts of things. And I'll be like, oh, Jerry would be good, because if it's a gentleman, sometimes they're not comfortable talking to ladies. Jerry would be great to talk to you about. He can share his experience with depression and how he overcame it. And that to me is the impact we have to make.
Yeah, and a good thing here.
I've reached 100 messages today with Restream chat.
I'm glad you saw that on your side.
Because you saw it?
Yeah.
That's what you were going to say, huh?
Yeah, I was going to, and when I saw you looking, because you were looking up.
Yeah.
That's where, because it usually comes up there. But I'm a junk food junkie. You know what? It makes you happy, doesn't it?
Speaking of junk food, there was about a 6-month period that came close to right before I decided that this wasn't good enough, that all I ate was the cheddar sour cream Ruffles and Diet Pepsi.
Oh.
Literally, I would send my husband to the store for 4 or 5 bags of potato chips at a time. And he did it because it was the only thing I would eat. He could bring home dinner and I wouldn't eat it. That is all I ate.
Sherry, Mike, nice to see you. Sorry if I missed you there, but yeah. How's Pia?
I'm so grateful to everybody that showed up and communicated. And like I said, we'll be a little bit more organized next time, and we'll probably start with sleep. Unless there's somebody that's got an absolute issue they want to, and like I said, feel free to pick my brain anytime. Don't feel like you're invasive. Pick my brain on Facebook, whatever.
Yeah.
And email me, and I will address it in my time. Like, I'm not going to stop what I'm doing to check. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's not a bother, and it's not interfering with my day at all. You got a question, it comes to head. If you don't ask that question when it's in your head, you don't ask it at all.
Right. Then you go to your TikTok channel. You got a lot of followers there.
Yes, I'm getting them. I haven't had that for very long, and I've never even gone live on there, which I need to.
Yeah, this is great, Stephen. I'm really happy that ketchup chips. I'm glad that you two are going to be talking. I mean, really, it makes me happy because I've had my conversations, and you're going to feel amazing. I'm telling you, you're going to feel amazing, Stephen. But you're right, Sherry. Everyone needs to hear this. And again, we're going to be doing this. This is not the only time. So, like you said, sleep. That's a big thing.
It's huge.
And then if you have any suggestions, again, throw them here in the comments, what you want to talk about, and then we can get together and figure it out. But I'm sorry if I'm going here and here.
Going over. We just can't stop talking, can we?
No.
My thought process behind it is to do it as I would do my 12-week process, my coaching program, and the first thing we would talk about is sleep. And then it goes to how are you going to sleep at night and how are you waking up in the morning? That's like the foundation.
Well, I like how you said the thought process of sleeping, because I never did that. Thank you, Stephen, for sharing this. But I never thought of what you said when we talked last week about your thought. You take about a half hour or so and think, I don't know, I'm just gonna say like positive thoughts or what affirmations and things like that, and then you feel good getting up too. If you get into a routine like this.
To sleep at night. I mean, the last thing I do at night is it's a prayer, and you're praying to spirit, universe, whoever your choice is in that. But it's really simple. It's I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. And so the last thing I'm saying at night when I go to sleep is I love you. And I'm talking to myself by that time.
Yeah.
I love you enough to put whatever it takes into you to make you the best you can be.
Yes.
And that's my conversation with myself. And when I wake up in the morning, I don't have a pit of anxiety in my stomach. I don't have a to-do list. And I don't open my phone for the first hour I'm awake.
That's
I leave my phone turned off. I spend 20 minutes with God, 20 minutes with tea, and 20 minutes moving my body.
Wow. You should talk to my wife. This sounds like she does the same thing, and she goes to she actually gets on her knees and prays. And when I see her doing that, I think, okay, I got to do something, like that. But
It has the ripple effect, and that's
yeah,
kind of what I'm wanting to do with all this is increase my ripple. I
yeah,
want my ripple to, not fade at 20 people. I want it to fade at 20 million people.
yeah. People need, yeah, I
I really
agree.
believe the sky's no limit with this, and
No, people uh, people need to know every 40 seconds in the United States, someone has a stroke. And how many people I didn't even know. I just saw old people have strokes.
yeah,
You-
so did I. When I was 41 and I knew something was on after I waited for 3 days. Did I think that I had ruptured it? No.
No,
I just thought it was another 5-day migraine, but it was worse this time. And,
yeah,
you know, and for me, it was unheard of. Let's cause a ripple across
I
the world.
love it,
Yes,
Sharon.
Mary,
I'm so glad that you're here. Keep moving, waves. Yes, this is great. But yeah, we'll
we're
I
going to
know.
have to cut it now, though, because
Yeah,
I have an 11:30
and
call.
yeah, and I do like to keep it like an hour. But this type of subject or this conversation, yeah, we'll cut it. But I do
And that's kind of
totally,
how I want it to be, is more like a conversation than
yeah.
just me talking about sleep. I like having the asking questions and that kind of stuff because that really helps too.
We
So,
want everybody to get involved. The
yeah.
viewers, that's what this is about.
And I will have maybe setting up a private Facebook group where folks can go do the 12-week program with me for very little charge. Like a supporters group or something, maybe $20 a month or something, where I will be doing all these techniques.
Right, right.
And so I'll be, talking about them here, and I will teach a few things on here, but really each person needs the individual attention.
Yeah,
You get
absolutely.
that from a group setting. And so, the possibilities right now are endless. I don't know where this is going. I'm just keeping going with what feels right.
Yep,
And
awareness.
this felt right. Like,
Yep,
as
awareness.
much response as I got and people that texted me and reached out after the last show, I was like, well, I'm making an impact there, so let's make a bigger impact.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And if I just keep on doing,
Keep on doing.
that's right.
Well, you guys, I appreciate it, and I know Mel too. You have the
Absolutely
last word.
appreciate it.
Yeah, you have the last word because I will just
I do really
mumble.
appreciate all of you that showed up live, and thank you for all the comments. And like I said at the beginning, if you catch us on a replay, just give me a #mindset and let me know that you watched it. You can still ask questions in those replays. You can email me, text me. You can Facebook message me. You can TikTok message me. You can. I'm on all the things. So there's
Oh,
a million ways to get a hold of me, and
yep. Not hard to find.
don't wait until your circumstances are out of control. I always don't wait until it's rock bottom, because you don't have to hit rock bottom,
Absolutely not.
and you can make choices that.
Thank
Well,
you.
Great show, and we're looking for more. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
So
Marina?
glad. I'll see you guys soon.